Welcome to Exquisitesip Distillery University, a unique distillery where we will be bringing you hands-on every step of distilling, every form of distilling, the grains used, the fruit used, every single avenue to explore. Of course, we don't advise distilling at home. We don't, in the countries that's not legal. You might want to move to New Zealand where it is legal. And this is just, I know there's a passion, there's a love for it, I feel it on my feeds, and I want to formulate a more structured response, I should say, because I get constant back and forth, whether it's on my blog, buildabottle.com, which has 4,000 or 5,000 visitors a month, in my shop, Exquisitesip here, Tarbell Distillery, obviously, featuring the Forbes, etc. And I feel it's time to launch it, bring everyone in, bring everyone on board, get educated, and join the fun. So, class number one. Yeah, we're back in class. We'll give the class. And feel free to DM. I would love to hear your input. What is distilling? Distilling is the art of taking something that's the liquid form, be it here we have a whiskey, a rye, bourbon, tequila, rum, any form of sugar. Pretty much all sugars are fermentable. Some you might need to use an aid to enhance the fermentation. Barley, you might have to, they propagate it and make it grow a little bit, make it think that it's starting to grow for it to release the sugars. But overall, every single thing, every starch has some form and in some way can be fermented, and that's the sugars. From the sugars, you would create what's called the beer, the wine. This process is when you'll see a bubble. Most yeast that you'll purchase, whether it's online or even baker's yeast in the local bakery, will ferment between the temperature of 60 and 90, give or take a few degrees. It has a tremendous influence on the taste. Obviously, the amount of sugar, 2 pounds per gallon, or however, will always have a different taste and a tremendous influence on the spirit. So, very important. Number one, what sugars are you using? Next that you need to know is the yeast that you are using. Is it fresh yeast? If it's not fresh yeast, it will give it a funny taste, a funky taste. And the next step will be your temperature controlled at the right temperature. Obviously, the water that you use, if you're using water you won't drink, then you shouldn't be using water that you won't drink. You need a drinkable, delicious water that will ferment well and interact well with your grains. So let's go for a simple fermentation today. You're taking a isolated sugar such as what your wife uses or you use in the kitchen, put it into a cup. And this is a challenge. I want you to take it home with you and to experiment. Let me know how you enjoyed it. Just go to the cabinet, take out, let's say, a quarter cup of sugar, fill it with water, pop in some yeast. Very simple. Don't cover it, just leave it there and watch it ferment. You want to get a little more sophisticated. You don't want any outside yeast to influence the taste of it. Cover it, loosely cover it with a towel, with a paper towel, so it can breathe, will ferment. Never, ever fill up the cup all the way, unless you want to mess, as it will overflow the sides of the cup all over the place. So you need to leave it a third or a quarter full, which means actually not putting in a quarter of a shot of sugar, you're putting in much less than that. But 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons is, I would guess, off the top of my head, is a great estimate. After a day, it should slow down. Again, you kept it between 65 and 90 degrees. Have a drink. It's an alcoholic beverage. You might not call it your favorite beer, but that's what it is. It's some form of beer. Beer by law. Most traditionally follow the German rules of beer, which is it has to be the 4 grains. It's not law in the USA, but that's the traditional way of brewing beer. Now, what is distillation? We got this. Put it into the freezer. See if it freezes. You ever froze wine? You ever froze vodka? Vodka won't freeze. The wine will get slushy. That is the simplest form of distillation. Distill it, separate it. you'll find that there's a concentrate of alcohol handled right after freezing it apart from your liquid matter, which is the water. This alcohol is drinkable. I might not advise it, as it does still have the heads. It's very raw, but it's drinkable, and this was done for many years in the state of New Jersey with Applejack and the like. So thank you very much for joining us at Exquisitesip Distillery University. We look forward to having you in person. We want to greet you. We want to educate you. Of course, shoot me an email, ben@terebello, terebelo.com. DM me, reach out. I love to share. I'm looking forward. Stay tuned for our next.